ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु वध्वेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवतुत्तमा श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरिः ओम्। Okay, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29. Explanation of Devotional Service by Lord Kapila. Devahutiruvacha Lakshanam mahadadinam prakrite purushasya cha swarupam lakshyate misham yena tatpara martikam yata sankhyeshu katitam yanmulam tad prachakshat te bhakti yogasya me margam bruhi vistarasah prabho. Devahuti inquired, "My dear Lord, you have already very scientifically described the symptoms of the total material nature and the characteristics of the spirit according to Sankhya's system of philosophy. Now I shall request you to explain the path of devotional service, which is the ultimate end of all philosophical system. विरागो येन पुरुषो भगवान् सर्वतो भवेत् आचक्ष्व जीवलोकस्य विवधा मम संसृतिः. Devahuti continued, "My dear Lord, please also describe in detail, both of for me and for people in general, the continual process of birth and death. For hearing of such calamities, we may become detached from the activities of this material world." कालेश्वररूपस्य परेषां च परस्य ते स्वरूपं बत कुर्वन्ति यद्धेतोः कुशलं जनाः. Please also describe eternal time, which is representation of your form and by whose influence people in general engage in performance of pious activities. लोकस्य मिथ्याभिमतेरचक्षुषुश्चिरं प्रसुप्तस्य तमसि अनाश्रये श्रान्तस्य कर्मस् अनुविद्धया धिया त्वम् आविराशिः किल योगभास्करः. My dear Lord, you are just like sun, for you illuminate the darkness of conditional life of living entities. Because their eyes of knowledge are not open, they are sleeping eternally in that darkness without your shelter, and therefore they are falsely engaged by the actions and reactions of their material activities, and they appear to be very fatigued. Maitreya iti maturvacha shlakšnam प्रतिनन्द्य महामुनिः आबभासे कुरश्रेष्ठ प्रीतस्तां करुणार्दितः. Sri Maitreya said, "O best among the Kurus, the great sage Kapila, moved by great compassion and pleased by the words of his great mother, glorious mother, spoke as follows." Okay. श्रीभगवानुवाच भक्तियोगो बहुविधो मार्गैर्बाहिनी भाव्यते स्वभावगुणमार्गेण पुंसां भावो विभिद्यते. Lord Kapila, the personality of Godhead, replied, "O noble lady, there are multifarious paths of devotional service in terms of the different qualities of the executor. अभिसन्धाय यो हिंसां दम्भं मात्सर्यम् एव वा सम्भ्रम्भी सम्रम्भी भिन्नदृग् भावं मयि कुर्यात् स तामसः. Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, and angry, and who is a separatist, is considered to be the mode of darkness. विषयान् अभिसन्धाय यस् यश ऐश्वर्यम् एव वाम् अर्चयेद् यो मां पृथग्भावः स राजसः. The worship of deities in the temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment, fame, and opulence is devotion in the mode of passion. Karma niharam, karma nirharam उद्दिश्य परस्मिन् वा तत् अर्पणं यजेत् यष्टव्यम् इति वा पृथग् भावः स सात्विकः. When a devotee worships the Supreme Personality of Godhead and offers the results of his activities in order to free himself from the inebrities of fruitive activities, his devotion is in the mode of goodness. मद्गुणश्रुति मात्रेण मयि सर्वगुहाशये मनोगतिरविच्छिन्न यथा गङ्गाम्बसोऽम्बुदौ लक्षणं भक्तियोगस्य निर्गुणस्य हि उदाहृतम् अहैतुकी अव्यवहिता या भक्तिः पुरुषोत्तमे. The manifestation of unadulterated devotional service is exhibited when one's mind is at once attracted to hearing the transcendental name and qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is residing in everyone's heart. Just as the water of the Ganges flows naturally down towards the ocean, such devotional ecstasy, uninterrupted by any material condition, flows towards the Supreme Lord. सालोक्य शास्त्रे सामीप्य सारूप्यैकत्वम् अपि उत धीयमानं न गृह्णन्ति विना मत्सेवनं जनाः. A pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation. Salokya, Sarsti, Samipya, Sarupya, or Ekatva, even though they are offered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sayeva Bhakti Yogakhya Atyantika Udahritah येनातिव्रज्य त्रिगुणं मद्भावायोपपद्यते. By attaining the highest platform of devotional service, as I have explained, one can overcome the influence of the three modes of material nature and be situated in the transcendental stage, as is the Lord. निषेवितेनानिमित्तेन स्वधर्मेण महीयसा क्रियायोगेन षष्ठेन नातिहिंस्रेण नित्यसः. A devotee must execute his prescribed duties, which are glorious, without material profit. Without excessive violence, one should regularly perform one's devotional activities. मद्दिष्ण्या दर्शनस्पर्श पूजा स्तुति अभिवन्दनैः भूतेषु मद्भावनाया सत्त्वेनासङ्गमेन च. The devotee should regularly see my statues in temple, touch my lotus feet, and offer worshipable paraphernalia and prayer. He should see in the spirit of renunciation from the mode of goodness and see every living entity as spiritual. महतां बहुमानेन दीनानाम् अनुकम्पया मैत्र्या चैवात्मतुल्येषु यमेन नियमेन च. The pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving the greatest respect to the spiritual master and the acharyas. He should be compassionate to the poor and make friendship with persons who are his equals. But all his activities should be executed under regulation and with control of senses. आध्यात्मिकानुश्रवणां नाम सङ्कीर्तनच्च मे आर्जवेन्नार्य सङ्गेन निरहङ्क्रियाय तथा क्रियया तथा. A devotee should always try to hear about spiritual matters and should always utilize his time in chanting the holy name of the Lord. His behavior should always be straightforward and simple, and although he is not envious but friendly to everyone, he should avoid the company of persons who are not spiritually advanced. मद्धर्मणो गुणैयेते परिसंशुद्ध आश्रयः पुरुषस्याञ्ज साभ्येति सूत्रमात्र गुणं हि माम्. When one is fully qualified with all these transcendental attributes and his consciousness is thus completely purified, He is immediately attracted simply by hearing my name or hearing of my transcendental activities. यथा वातारतो घ्राणम् आवृण्के गन्ध आशयात् एवं योगरतं चेत आत्मानम् अविकारी यत्. As the chariot of air carries an aroma from its source and immediately catches the sense of smell, similarly one who constantly engages in the devotional service in Krishna consciousness can catch the Supreme Soul who is equally present everywhere. And here from here, Aham sarveshu bhuteshu bhutatmavastitah sada tam avajnaya mam matya purutercha vidambanam. I am present in every living entity as a super soul. If someone neglects or disregards that super soul everywhere and engages himself in the worship of the deity in the temple, that is simply imitation. Yo mam sarveshu bhuteshu santam atmanam ishwaram hitvacham bhajate maudhyam maudhyat bhasmani eva juhoti sa. One who worships the deity of the Godhead in the temples, but does not know that the Supreme Lord, as Paramatma, is situated in every living entity's heart, must be in ignorance and is compared to one who offers oblations into ashes. द्विषतः परकाये मां मानिनो भिन्नदर्शिनः भूतेषु बद्धवैरस्य न मनः शान्तिं नृच्छति. One who offers me respect but is envious of the bodies of others and is therefore a separatist never attains peace of mind because of his inimical behavior towards other living entities. अहम उच्छावचैर्द्रव्यैः क्रिययोत्पन्नायानगे नैव तुष्येऽर्तचो ऋचो रि- अ, नैव तुष्येच्चितो चियां छायां भूतग्रामावमानिनः. My dear mother, even if he worships with proper rituals and paraphernalia, a person who is ignorant of my presence in all living entities never pleases me by the worship of my deities in the temple. अच्छादाव अर्चयेत् तावत् ईश्वरं मां स्वकर्मकृत् यावन्न वेद स्वहृदि सर्वभूतेषु अवस्थितम्. Performing his prescribed duties, one should worship the deity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead until one realizes my presence in his own heart and in the hearts of other living entities as well. आत्मानश्च परस्यापि यः करोति अन्तरोदरं तस्य भिन्नदृशो मृत्युर्विददे भयम् उल्बणम्. As the blazing fire of death, I cause great fear to whoever makes the least discrimination between himself and other living entities because of a differential outlook. अथ मां सर्वभूतेषु भूतात्मानं कृतालयम् अर्हये दानमानाभ्यां मैत्राभिन्नेन चक्षुषा. Therefore, through charitable gifts and attention, as well as through friendly behavior, and by viewing all to be alike, one should propitiate me, who abide in all creatures as their very self. Hare Krishna. We'll continue the remaining part, which is about the how to graduate a devotee, how he goes forward, and what is the nature of time, etc. This is what Devahuti asked. Hare Krishna. So let's take into look of this very important part of the chapter. Yeah. 1 second. Where is my notes? So here we can see in this Prabhupada writes in the first purport itself, in this 29th chapter, the glories of devotional service are elaborately explained. And the influence of time on the conditioned soul is also described. So the purpose of elaborately describing the influence of time is to detach the conditioned soul from his material activity, which are considered to be simply waste of time. Yeah. Time plays a very important role in all our lives. So where are we spending the time? Is it attachment to the Lord, or attachment to the matter decides how long we will continue in this cycle of birth and death? This chapter, the principles of bhakti yoga or devotional service, the execution of activities of in eternal relationship with the Lord, are explained. And in fact, here it is said, but of course, bhakti yoga. I think I don't know who asked this question. Was it Adirasa Prabhu or yeah, I think Adirasa Prabhu. Bhakti yoga, and this is the first purport, is the basic principle of all systems of philosophy. All philosophies which does not aim for devotional service to the Lord is considered merely mental speculation. I don't know, Adirasa Prabhu, you are there? Okay. But of course, bhakti yoga with no philosophical basis is more or less sentiment. There are two classes of men. Some consider themselves intellectually advanced and simply speculate and meditate, and others are sentimental and have no philosophical basis for their propositions. Neither of these can achieve the highest goal of life, or if they do, it will take them many, many years. So, Vedic literature therefore suggests that there are three elements, namely the Supreme Lord, the living entity, and their relationship, and that the goal of life is to follow the principles of bhakti. But one should not simply acquire knowledge without reaching the goal of life, or the basic principles for acquiring knowledge is bhakti. If we give up bhakti yoga and simply busy ourselves in analytical study of nature, of things as they are, then the result will be practically nil. This is also what we will see in the verses that we read. Hmm? So Devahuti is asking, please describe in detail, both for me and for the people in general. Yeah, that is the compassion aspect here in this verse. Samsriti is very important. Shreyasriti means prosperous path. Samsriti means continuous journey of birth and death. So please describe eternal time. This question is answered later. Yeah, we didn't cover that. Answered in 36 to 45. So please also describe eternal time, which is a representation of your form, and by whose influence in general engage people in general engage in performance of pious activities. So time plays an important role. Yeah, otherwise we will always just postpone. Why should we really come at 8:30 to here? Why? Because we know the value of time. Time is not going to wait for us until we are ready to hear this spiritual science. General people are attached to sense enjoyment and so aspire for life on heavenly planets. Therefore, they engage themselves in charitable or other pious activities. But actually, as stated in Bhagavad Gita, one cannot get relief from the chain of birth and death, even if he goes to the Brahma Loka. Lokasya mityabhimatir achakshasha. It is mentioned here. She's asking, my dear Lord, you are just like sun. Uh, for you illuminate the darkness of conditioned life of living entities. Because their eyes of knowledge are not opened, they are sleeping eternally in the darkness. So please enlighten them. This is what. Now the Lord is described here as what? The word used is called Yoga Bhaskara, the son of the system of all yoga. Hmm? Devahuti has already requested her son to describe Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the sun-like illumination for delivering the conditioned soul, whose general condition is described here. It says he invents many processes to adjust this fatigue condition, but he fails and thus remains confused. This is the state of sleeping condition. Though we may say, hey, I am not sleeping, I am seeing the world with my eyes. How can someone say that I am sleeping? The understanding of sleeping here is that we are not seeing with the eyes of Shastra Chakshu. We are not seeing things as they are. We are thinking everything is very attractive. In fact, the material world, though it has all variegatedness with all colors and everything, because allurement is there, but one should understand that this is not our home, and if not, then we are sleeping. The only path for mitigating his fatigue in the struggle of existence is the path of devotional service or the path of Krishna consciousness. And Maitreya continues, he says, That sage Kapila, moved by great compassion, pleased the words of his glorious mother, spoke as follows. He is saying, Bhakti Yoga Bahuvido. This is very important. In fact, if we do all the combinations, permutations, we will find so many, even within the Bhakti, how many kinds of possibilities are there. But here it is said, the personality of Godhead. One second. One second. I'm sorry. So it is said that Kapila Muni is saying, oh, noble lady, there are multifarious paths of devotional service in terms of different qualities of executor. So it's not like, okay, there is only one kind of a devotee, then everyone is non-devotee. No, we can see everyone is practicing in one way or the other a kind of a devotional path, whether serious or not. In the purport, Prabhupada is saying, a person who is distressed, in fact, Bhagavad Gita is saying four kinds of people approach the Lord. One who is distressed because of material condition becomes a devotee of the Lord, and he approaches the Lord to mitigate his distress. Oh Lord, please take this coconut, please take this peta, or please take this flowers or whatever, and make my life happy. Because I'm suffering with immense trouble all over. So this is one kind. A person in need of money, he approaches the Lord, Artharthi. He wants to make more money, asks for some improvement in his monetary condition. Others who are not in distress and not in money, uh, but they want to seek knowledge, but are seeking knowledge in order to understand the absolute truth. They are asking, and they inquire into the nature of the Supreme Lord. This is very nicely described in 7.16. Actually, the path of devotional service is one without a second. But according to the devotee's condition, devotional service appears in multifarious varieties, as will be nicely explained verses. So the point here is, when we come across people, there might be a newbie, motivated by knowledge, motivated by struggle they are going through, or motivated by comfortable position they want. Yeah, they also consider themselves devotees, and we also should respect their sense of devotion. May not be very very deep, very very shallow, or very very selfish, but still that is also, yeah, eventually when they give up all these, they can become hardcore devotees. Devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, and angry, and who is a separatist. I think the word of separatist is defined here in one of the purports. I have to see which one is that. But these purports are very nice. If we really want to understand how is my devotion motivated, am I doing a devotion in mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance? Here we can see devotional service executed by a person in who is envious, proud, violent, angry, and who is a separatist. Let's come to that later. In the purport, Prabhupada is saying that the spiritual master is the manifested representation of the Supreme Lord, because he receives and presents the instructions of the Lords as they are by disciplic succession. Huh? So, in pure devotional service, the only motive should be to please the Supreme Lord. There is no, this is not actually that is not actually a motive. That is a supreme condition of the living entity. It is not a motive. He has to do it. That is his nature. Only thing is we don't know. That's why we are not doing. One who approaches the Supreme Lord to render devotional service, but who is proud of his personality, envious of others, or vengeful, is in mode of anger. He thinks that he is the best devotee. As I said, he may think he is best devotee. Devotional service executed in that way is not pure. It is mixed and is the lowest grade, tamasa. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur advises that a Vaishnava who is not of a good character should be avoided. Again, if you want, I can read. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur advises that a Vaishnava who is not of good character should be avoided. A Vaishnava is one who has taken the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the ultimate goal of life. But if one is not pure and still has motives, then he is not a Vaishnava of the first order of good character. One may offer his respects to such a Vaishnava because he has accepted the Supreme Lord as ultimate goal, but one should not keep company with a Vaishnava who is in the mode of ignorance. Yep, and now we come to the, as I said, the word what is separatist. The worship of deities in the temple by a separatist with a motive for material enjoyment, fame, and opulence is devotion in the mode of passion. Prabhupada straight away says in the purport, the word separatist must be understood carefully. The Sanskrit word in this connection is binnadrik, means not or pratyak bhavaha. A separatist is one who sees his interest as separate from that of the Supreme Lord, which means one who is self centered for getting his own job done, whether it is devotion or whether non devotion. A separatist is a mixed devotees or devotees in the mode of passion and ignorance. Think that the interest of the Supreme Lord is supplying the orders of the. Let me read again. Right. Okay. A separatist is one who sees his interest as separate from the Supreme Lord. Mixed devotees or devotees in the mode of passion and ignorance think that the interest of the Supreme Lord is supplying the orders of the devotee. Hmm? Is supplying. The interest of such devotees is to draw from the Lord as much as possible for their sense gratification. This is separatist mentality. Means how best I can benefit from the Lord. He is after all, yeah, he is having all powers, he is giving everything. Yeah, why not? Let me take the process so that I can get best of it. A devotee should not wish anything but to execute the desire of the Supreme. That is oneness. This is the mood of a devotee. A pure devotee is not in this sense that he wants to make something from it. A pure devotee has no interest but to act on the behalf of the Lord. Means just like the supreme spiritual master is taking the instruction from his spiritual master and from his spiritual master and going back to the Yoga Bhaskara, who is that? The Supreme Lord. Take the instructions as it is and just pass it and implement them. Now, a pure devotee has no interest but to act on behalf of the Supreme Lord. When one has even a tinge of personal interest, his devotion is mixed with the three modes of material nature. Huh? Karma nirharam uddishya. And it says when the devotee worships the Supreme Lord and offers the result of his activities in order to free himself from inebrities. What is he doing? Oh, yeah. Prabhupada is writing the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, along with Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyas, are all members of 8 divisions of Varnas and Ashramas. And they have their respective duties to perform for the satisfaction of the Lord. When such activities are performed and the results are offered to the Lord, they are called karmarpanam. Whatever the activities, duties one performed for the satisfaction of the Lord. If there is any inebriety or fault, it is atoned for by his offering process. But if this offering process is in the mode of goodness rather than in pure devotion, then the interest is different. The 4 ashramas and varnas act for some benefit in accordance to the personal interest. Therefore, such activities are in mode of goodness. They cannot be counted in the category of pure devotion. What is pure devotion? Definition of pure devotion as per Rupa Goswami is Anya Bhilashita Sunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulyena Krishnanusilanam Bhakti Uttamam. Uttama Bhakti. The topmost bhakti is Anya Abhilashita Sunyam. Anya Abhilash, all kinds of interest that's void of all kind of interest. Anya Abhilashatu Sunyam Jnana Karma Adi Anavritam. Jnana, karma or any other kind of things. Anavritam, free from that. Anukulyena Krishnanu. What should we do then? Whatever activity that we do it for the pleasure of the for the Lord Krishna. Krishnanu Bhaktir Uttamam. There can be no excuse for personal or material interest. One may say, no, 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 let me make sure that I am comfortable. Let me make sure that minimum whatever I need, let me do that. The top devotee is not considered anything for him. He knows that Lord has to take care of him. Just like a child is not worried, yeah, a newborn child is not worried because he knows that, yeah, it's the duty of the parents who take care. Devotional service in the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness can be divided into 81 categories. I don't know if someone can make a note. Yeah. Please make a note of this 10th purport. Yeah, it mentions how this 81 categories came. There are different devotional activities such as hearing, chanting, remembering, worshipping, offering prayers, yeah, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, all these things. So different kinds of there, and each of these nine, there are three kinds of possibilities they may be doing in the mode of goodness, passion, or ignorance. Yeah, there is hearing in the mode of passion, in the mode of ignorance, and in the mode of goodness. Similarly, there is chanting in the mode of goodness, ignorance, passion. 3 multiplied by 9 is 27. And when again multiplied by 3, it becomes 81. Yeah. One has to be transcendent. One has to transcend all such mixed materialistic devotional service in order to reach the standard of pure devotional service, as explained further. Mad guna shruti matrena mai sarva guha saye mano gatir avichinna yata ganga ambasho ambudaho lakshanam bhakti yogasya nirgunasya hi udahritam ahaituki avyavahita ya bhakti purushottame. Uh, Purushottame. The devotion should be performed not for self. Devotion should be performed to the who is qualified, who is that Purushottama. This is what is mentioned. The basic principle of this unadulterated, pure devotional service is the love of Godhead. Mad guna shruti matrena means these qualities are nirguna, not contaminated by material desires. And of course, again, please refer to this purport 11 to 12. It also has further details about how to understand. Another meaning of word avyavahita is that the interest of the devotee and the interest of the Supreme Lord are on the same level. The Lord wants that all come back to the spiritual world because they have lost themselves and they want to. Lord is ambitious, and also the devotees is ever eager how to compassionately bring everyone, just like carefully bring them out of this circle of birth and death. These are the symptoms of pure devotional service, which is free from all contaminations of material nature. Salokya, Sastri, Samipya, and all these things, we are not interested. A pure devotee does not accept any kind of liberation, whether it is Salokya, Samipya, Sasti, Sarupya. What are these? You may already know this, yeah. Um, yeah, yeah. I think I'll take 10 minutes and wind up. But this is some we are very much interested na liberation. How what kind of liberation you want? Salokya. Let me go to the spiritual worlds and stay there forever. Or Sarsti, or Samipya, being very close associate to the Lord's. Ekatva, to be even oneness with the Lord, even though they are offered to the by the Lord, one is not interested. It is clearly stated herein that a pure devotee does not desire ekatva, oneness with the Supreme Lord, as desired by the Mayavadis, the mental speculators, and meditators. It's not the interest of the devotee. To become one with the Supreme Lord is beyond the dream of the pure devotee. Sometimes he may accept promotion to Vaikuntha planet to serve the Lord there, but he will never accept merging with Brahma Jyoti. Such ekatva or merging is called kaivalya, but the happiness derived from kaivalya is considered by the pure devotee to be hellish. So, when a devotee is promoted to the spiritual world, he receives four kinds of facilities in the Vaikuntha. One of this is Salokya, living in the same planet of the Lord, and the Supreme Lord, in his different planetary expansions, lives on innumerable Vaikuntha planets, and the chief planet is Krishna Loka. Such just as within the material universe, the chief planet is Sun, in the spiritual world, the chief planet is Krishna Loka. A devotee can be promoted to one of such Vaikuntha planets. Sarshti. What is Sarshti? Liberation means the opulence of devotees equal to the opulence of the Lord. What is Samipya means? Means to be a personal associate of the Lord. Sarupya means one who has the same bodily features as the Supreme Lord. Uh, so in this way, of course, there is one difference with the Lord. Even one has same form. It is Shri Vatsa. It is mentioned. Where is it? But for two or three symptoms found exclusively on transcendental body of the Lord. What is that? Srivatsa. Srivatsa, for example, the hair on the chest of the Lord particularly distinguishes him from his devotees. So that is the point. Yeah? A devotee, we may think, oh, I want to be relieved from all these things. A devotee is not even interested in relief. Devotee is interested in the pleasure of the Lord. For that matter, if a devotee has to go to any other planet, up or down, or in the same world in a different way to do, yeah, devotee is ever eager. Saeva bhakti yogaskya atyantika udahrita. This is mentioned by attaining the highest platform of devotional service, as I have explained, one can overcome the influence of three modes of nature and be situated in the transcendental stage. Huh. So, this is the understanding, and there is also some philosophical explanation given about what is the ekatva and what is understanding from Sripad Adi Shankaracharya, who has written, what is this, Bhashyam? What is Sharira Bhashyam? Yeah, he has written Sharira Bhashyam on Bhagavad Gita, which is based, and he also mentions, yeah, in fact, the purport starts already. Sripad Shankaracharya, who is supposed to be the leader of impersonalist school of philosophers, has admitted in the beginning of his comments on Bhagavad Gita that Narayana is beyond the material creation. Except for him, everything is within the material creation. Even he accepts, he has also confirmed. uh, so it is also confirmed in Vedic literature that before the creation there was only Narayan. Neither Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva existed. Only Narayana, or the Supreme Personality of God, Vishnu or Krishna, is always in the transcendental position beyond the influence of material creation. Anyway, the further statements are provided if one interested can read. And then Nimittena, this is uh, um, Nisevitena, Animittena, without attachment to the result, uh, a devotee must execute his prescribed duties, which are glorious, without material profit. Without excessive violence, one should regularly perform one's devotional activities. There is this Chaturvarna and each class what they should. The activities of Brahmanas are to control the senses and to become simple, clean, and learned devotee. Learning is a very important process. We cannot just say, hey, it's too, I know, I have the bhav for Krishna, let me use the bhav and reach Krishna. How can we know that our bhav is pure? How do we know that we are progressing? How do we know that we are misusing our golden opportunity? So we need to have the knowledge, the right knowledge. So a Brahman, if one is becoming a Brahmana, how can you say how one can become a Brahmana? Is by these qualifications. He should be simple, clean, learned. Then he becomes Brahmana. Kshatriya has the spirit of ruling. They are not afraid on the battlefield and they are charitable. A Kshatriya should be always Udara. He should be in a good disposition. Vaishyas, the mercantile class of men, trade in commodities, protect cow and develop agriculture products. Shudras or laborer class serve the higher classes because they themselves are not very intelligent. Hmm? So this is what? Is it by birth not intelligent? No, it is eventually when they prove they are not intelligent in the schools, in the academics, what they do. Yeah, even in our own system, in our government or any part of the world, the topmost jobs are given for intellectual people, not for labor people, right? Why? Because the laborer people um, cannot comprehend the roles and responsibilities and deliver as expected. And of course, that doesn't mean that laborer is a very cheap or the CEO is very top. Everyone should help each other. From every position, swa karmana tat abhyarchya, one can serve the Supreme Lord by performing one's prescribed duty. It doesn't mean, oh, one is Shudra, he cannot serve. Everyone can serve. Yeah? It is not that only Brahmanas can serve the Supreme Lord and not the Shudras. Anyone can serve the Supreme Lord by performing his prescribed duties under the direction of spiritual master. No one can think that his prescribed duties are inferior. Yeah. There is whole further explanation in this purport. The devotee should regularly see my statue in the temple, touch my lotus feet, and offer worshipable paraphernalia and prayer. He should see in the spirit of renunciation from the mode of goodness and see every living entity as spiritual. Um, The Lord is all merciful that he manifests himself in the form of Archa Vigraha. It is said, a neophyte considers the Archa Vigraha to be different from the Supreme Lord. He considers it a representation of the Supreme Lord in the form of a deity. But an advanced devotee accepts the deity in the temple as the Supreme Lord. He does not see any difference between the original form of the Lord and the statue in the temple. This is the vision of a devotee whose devotional service is in the highest stage of bhava, whereas a neophyte devotee, neophyte's worship in the temple is a matter of routine duty. So we should perform our routine duties until we get this. And then there is a description about um, if a devotee does not see every living entity as part and parcel of the Lord, he is considered as prakrita bhakta, a materialistic devotee. Hmm? He is not completely situated on the spiritual platform. Rather, he is in the lowest stage of devotion. He does, however, show all respect to the deity. Hmm. Although devotees see all living entities on the level of spiritual existence, he is not interested in associating with everyone. There is this example. Simply because a tiger is part and parcel of the Supreme Lord does not mean that we embrace him because of his spiritual realization with the Supreme Lord. We must associate only with persons who have developed Krishna consciousness. Okay, I will stop here. There is, I think, there is a piece of warning. I think it is from 20th verse. So let me go till at least 20th verse and leave that. A pure devotee should execute devotional service by giving great respect to the spiritual master and acharyas. He should be compassionate to poor and make friendship with people who are his equals. But all his activities should be executed under regulation with control of senses. Yeah. So, and these are very important. There are 18 qualifications mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, among which one is simplicity. One should be without pride. One should not demand unnecessary respect from others. One should be non-violent. Amanitvam, adambitvam, yeah, ahimsa. I think you remember this is in the chapter where we were going in elaborate all these qualities. Yeah, I think took almost like more than month or even more to understand Arjava, all these qualities. Hmm. Um, so one should have this madharmano gunair ete parisham suddha ashaya purushanja sabhyeti sutra matra Sruta Matra Guna Hi Mam. When one is fully qualified with all these transcendental attributes and his consciousness is thus completely purified, he is immediately attracted simply by hearing my name or hearing of my transcendental quality. What does that mean? Right now, when we are chanting, we are not appreciating the chanting process. Why? Because we have not developed sufficiently these qualities. Maybe we may have some trace of quality, sometimes coming, not all times. So we have a lot to do to be able to appreciate the taste of chanting. But can we leave now and get all the qualities first? No. The strength of chanting will help us to get these qualities. So we should not give up chanting, whether it is routine or whether it is, ritualistic or religiously doing whatever or without taste. All this, let Krishna help us there. But at least we show that we are eager to taste the holy name, so that we can have this interest of us. As the chariot of air carries an aroma from its source and immediately catches the sense of smell, similarly, one who constantly engages, it's not said just once, constantly engaged in devotional service can catch the Supreme Soul who is equally present everywhere. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Uy. Anyone would like to share any thoughts? Or how is it to be a real devotee? Yeah, means what?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Maybe can speak something. Yes, Prabhuji, this chapter definitely is very nice. And not just this, every chapter reading in the evening is like some sort of self-reflectory thoughts on that, and this is very, very important with respect to we trying to be devotee. And yeah, it clearly shows there is a lot of ground to be covered. But somehow
Mm.
I felt that, yeah, we are very fortunate that we are hearing this chapter again, so that maybe that time when we have heard it, we needed it that time also, this sort of reflection. And now also, when we are hearing it, then yeah, definitely we need to meditate on these points and check where we fit in and how we can do more, because not only just wherein Kapila Muni is explaining, Prabhupada is also explaining in the purport that how these things can be done and when this will be achieved. So yeah, Prabhuji, actually I can say that this is one of my favorite chapter in Canto 3. So thank you
Yeah.
so much.
For me as well, I was really looking for this particular part where, yeah, you remember, uh, I don't know if someone remembers this chapter we did go through when we were in um, Vishwambar Prabhu's house, yeah, where I was giving this in Hindi, yeah, at that time. So luckily today we could cover in English, reading through this. At that time, you remember I was giving what are all possible combinations of bhakti that is possible, etc. And it's always nice. Of course, number is, yeah, exact number may not really matter, but important is that so many varieties, and that's why when we come across people who have even small pinch of devotion, we can say, okay, how to bring them to the next. Oh, we understand they are in the mode of passion or in the mode of ignorance, but still they are devotees. They want, yeah, they need some facilitation to advance further, and that's all about what we could do. And while we ourselves are also growing.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much for this Nityam Bhagavad-sevayā every day.
Mhm.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, and thank you very much. And yeah, we'll meet tomorrow. पंचकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ग्रन्थराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय।